It's all about twisted wire. In today's tutorial, let's make these 3 beautiful pairs of earrings. Ever since I first saw this twist pattern ages ago, I have been wanting to do something with it, and now it is time, and we are going to do these wonderful beginner-friendly earrings using this great twisted link that is a lot easier than you would think. They also range in a little bit of difficulty. These 2, I would say, are the easiest. And this one I say is the most difficult one only because it gets a little finicky up here at the top. Like some jewelry pieces like to be difficult, but it's definitely doable with a few simple tools. I'll go nice and slow and show you all the steps. Make sure you can see what I'm doing so we can make these earrings together, and you can take this wonderful twisted pattern and start putting it in all your pieces. Isn't that gorgeous? Let me show you what you're going to need. Pretty basic stuff as always that we're using today. You got your cutters. I have a range of chain nose pliers simply because, remember, these get a little finicky at the top, and sometimes I just need different ones for different things. You know, I've got ones that got a little bit of a tooth on it. I've got these that have a little bit wider in the jaw. And then these are my nice tweezer nose. So I've got a range depending on what I'm exactly trying to do. You may want to have your nylon pliers handy just in case your wire gets squirrely, and maybe something, a small bail plier or your round nose pliers, maybe. Optional is one of these ring clamps to hold on to your wires as you're making the twist. This is not have to have it, but it sure is nice on your hands, so think about that. And to keep our twists nice and flat and make them strong, we're going to keep a nylon hammer on hand. You may want a chasing hammer if you stay around to do the ear wires with me, and something round to make the hoop earrings and these other little dangle hoops. Either your ring mandrel or you can have these large wrap and tap pliers. It all depends how it's working and feeling for you. So these are some options for something round to wrap these earrings around. Now these are pretty straightforward. These are going to be great, and all you need to do is find a bead that is going to fit this 20 gauge wire. Yes, we are using 20 gauge wire for all 3 of these pieces. It's pretty simple, pretty basic. It's going to carry you on right through to the ear wires. Let's get started. I've got 2 pieces, 20 gauge, 10 inches long each. And I'm just kind of basically getting a rough center here. And we are going to bring one side of these wires and overlap on the other side. And I like to bring the right side on top of this loop because I'm right-handed, and you'll see in a minute when we have to do the twist, the way my hand wants to move, it works better when the right side is over top of the left. So once you've kind of got it flipped over, grab each of these arms like this and just start pulling out so that we make this little teardrop in the middle. And keep pulling and pulling and pulling, and I like to go for a little teardrop that is about 1/2 centimeter wide. You can just press that down in there. Not those pliers making marks on it. Hold the little teardrop, and then you can pull each one of these individual arms out a little more until we've got that width, just to keep it consistent. I've got about 1/2 centimeter for this teardrop shape. I'm going to show you how to do it with chain nose pliers, but I will say, I'm telling you, that ring clamp really is helpful, but not everybody has that, and I want to show you with some basic tools how you can accomplish this wonderful little twist. So I'm grabbing this teardrop shape down deep into the jaw. You're really going to get a good grip down in there. So I'm holding that really tightly, and this you're going to get a feel for it. Really, your first run, you should just say it is like, let me get acquainted run, because you're going to have to figure out how you like to hold it. And I like to hold the loop in my left hand so that I can work the twists on the right side. So that is your preference. And I might end up adjusting as time goes on too, because sometimes your fingers get a little sore doing this, especially when you've done it all day yesterday like I did. So I've got a good grip, and I just pulled these inner wires out just a little bit. And that's so that I can get my fingers in there. And this is, you're going to have to determine which one you like to do it with. Sometimes I do my middle finger, sometimes I do my index finger, and we're just doing a twist. I'm holding really tightly right in here and trying to keep things at this really wide angle, nice and open and straight. And then I like to bring these wires pretty close, pretty uniform. And then I'll take chain nose pliers and I'm going to press down that twist that we just did. All right, here comes a little fun part, because you're thinking, Carrie, this is like a double twist. You've only twisted one thing. It's kind of a follow the leader way that this works. This twist obviously has got a wire that's on top and the one that's on the bottom coming out this way. These outer wires, the ones that we haven't used yet, are going to follow the leader. So I've got this one that's on top, and it's going to follow this wire that is also on top that we just twisted. Right over and following the leader. I also, when I'm pressing this, I'm not grabbing the wire way out here and pulling it around. I kind of imagine this angle, this turn, kind of like a bail. And you always want to press nice and close to the bail to get a nice curve on things. So I'm still doing the same thing. I've got this other wire we haven't used yet. It's going to follow this wire that's on the bottom. So I'm making sure that this wire is underneath these two. And I'm going to press near that wire and follow the leader. Grab your chain nose pliers and press that twist down. And that's basically what it is. I'm going to do it a few more times so you definitely see what I'm doing here. I am going to make the length of twist for these drop-down earrings, but I'm still going to show you how to make these, so don't worry about that. I've already got wire and twist prepared. For these, I did 9 twists, but this is, of course, you can make it as long as you want or short as you want. I'm just going to stay with the 9, but you feel free to stop when you want to stop or keep on going. And it's the same thing. I'm grabbing these 2 inner wires. And this is why I said earlier how I like when we made the initial teardrop, how the right is on top, because I like to press and turn my hand in this direction. If it was the other way, you'd have to go in this direction, and that's not as comfortable for me. I've made that inner twist, and I'm going to just press it down. Now you see it moved these inner wires a little bit. I like to keep them pretty uniform with the other wires, so I'll press them a little bit. Another little tip about the angles of this wire, of these wires in this joint here. You see I'm making them almost 180 degrees, open. The more that you have them closed in, the more relaxed and how do I say that?
No, this sucker's electrical. But I need a nuclear reaction to generate the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity.
What did I just say?
More relaxed the link is going to be, the more relaxed the twist is going to be. So I'm making mine pretty spread out wide, so it's going to be, this link is going to be pretty tight. But you can change that look by changing the angle. See what different looks that you come up with and that looks good to you. I'm following along with this. I really like this kind of tight little link. Again, I'm grabbing this wire to follow the leader of the one wire on top here. And I'm just pressing near that wire. Trying to keep things lined up and uniform as possible. This wire we haven't used yet is going to follow this one underneath. I'm going to make sure it's underneath. I'm going to make sure that my pliers hold. Yeesh. And press near that wire. And then give it a little squeeze. Let's do it one more time so you know exactly what I'm doing, and then I'll just work through it and I'll show you how to make all these great earrings. Twisting these center wires. Another thing to keep in mind is where you make this twist, if it starts hanging out onto either side of your twist, your line of twist will be bumpy. So try to keep this twist as centered as possible. You can fix a little bit of that by taking chain nose pliers at the end and just, you know, clamping things down and straightening things out. But you want to try to keep that twist centered. I could have a mistake here because this wire is on the bottom. I want to make sure that's on top so that I can follow that wire. Grabbing this one that's got to go underneath and bringing it on around. I'm going to straighten that out just a little bit. It got a little wonky on me. That's why I said keep your nylon pliers handy in case that happens to you. All right, I've got to get 9 twists in total, so I'll work through the rest of this real quickly and we'll come back and put that little sweet bead on it and work through these other earrings. All right, I'm back after I've got these 9 twists for this wonderful earring, the very first of 3 that we're going to make. And now we are going to finish it off here at the end. Obviously we've got our connector for our ear wire, and we're going to put this wonderful little 8mm, it's just a little cheap old pearl thing that I'm going to stick on there. But as long as your bead can work with a 20 gauge wire, you're good to go. This center wire here, of the 2 that is coming out on the top, this one right here is going to become the wire that holds the bead. So I'm going to take some thin chain nose pliers. I'm going to come in here and I've got to visualize where this center would be. Remember that the bend is happening out here just beyond the pliers. So I've got it over a little bit in hopes that this bend is going to occur right down here in the middle, and just bend it straight down. And we'll have that. Now this wire over here, we're going to make it come around and join these other 2. So I just use my hands. Because this is 20 gauge, it's dead soft, it's pretty easy to work with. And I'm just going to push it over to match in line with those 3. Now you might want to, if it's not quite lined up, you didn't get it just right, mine is not quite right, you can take some chain nose pliers and just pinch them together. This isn't going to matter a huge deal because it's going to get covered up. I'll just press it down. And I'm going to pull them out a little bit straighter to the side. I transitioned to the chain nose pliers that are a little bit wider in the jaw just to get a better grip. All right, once we kind of got this going on, this is where we're going to slip on our bead. Oh my goodness, we're going to slip on our bead. We're going to slip on the bead. Hold on, I got to ream this out. Well, this gives me a good chance to introduce this. If you're not familiar with these, they are bead reamers in case you've got something that just the hole wasn't quite opened all the way. And you just pop it right in there and it's just going to open that hole. It has a fine this grit on here that is going to open that. And now it should fit. See, there you go. So if you're not familiar with those, keep those on hand because lots of times you'll get a bead and one side is more open than the other. So those are great little handy tools. So I've got this push and I'm pushing it down. I want it to be kind of snug in there, making sure everything's lined up. And now I'm going to trim. This is a little bit of eyeballing. I would say, let me try to get an estimate for you of what I cut. Maybe a 1/2 centimeter. Trim to about a 1/2 centimeter here. We're going to save this. Don't get rid of that. We need that. And I do my simple, my simple little head pin where I take my pliers right on the end. I bend back, bend back into a U shape and then just pinch it closed. I know, I do it all the time. It's just because I like it. It's simple, it's classy. I like that little pop at the end. I don't know. What are your favorite handmade head pin designs? Maybe I should do something on that. All right, I'm gonna grab this. These 3 wires, right, coming out here are gonna make this little wonderful little band that goes on top of this pearl. So all it takes is some good strong chain nose pliers. Make sure that your wires are nice and even. If you need to do your nylon pliers on these, this is a good time to do that. I should have done it already. And we're going to start wrapping. When I first did this, I was trying to figure out what I liked. I'm like, oh yeah, just one wrap. And I just kept wrapping until it kind of made this thick band around it, a collar almost. I like that. And if you need to help yourself get it around, take your chain nose pliers and just gently squeeze it around. And you keep wrapping until it has that nice collar on there that you think looks good to you. I'm going to do another one. Why not? I do have to decide which one is my back. Okay, yes, we are on the front. For me, anyway. I want to make sure everything is lined up. You do not need to put this much on here if you don't want to. I just kind of like that look. Let me flip to, this is going to be my back side. So I'm going to trim to hide these ends in the back. And then just press down these ends as best as you can to smooth them down, and then we're going to file them to make them even more concealed and smooth. Sometimes I just need to get that plier out of the way. And I'm just doing small movements here. I'm not squeezing like, I'm trying to get a lid back on a jar or something like that. It's just gentle squeezes. Because all it takes is one squeeze too hard and you've wrecked it. Just filing off those back side, the ends of our wires, they're going to be in the back. This is just a manicure nail filer that you can get at Walmart or wherever. Super easy just to grab it and do some filing. I'm just going to make sure everything's lined up. Looking pretty good. See how there's a little, it's so slight, but there is a slight little wobble there. That's what I was saying. If your twist, your inner core twist is not quite lined up, you can be a little wobbly. So you can, with your chain nose pliers, you just kind of squeeze it, squeeze the stuff straight. So that'll help straighten things out. If you got a little wonkiness, I'm thinking that looks pretty good. All right, that's number 1 down. Let's move on to earring number 2, a great little twisted wire hoop. So classic and perfect for whatever you might be wearing it for. Office, I had one viewer that said, please make earrings that I can wear to the office. I think any one of these would be great for the office. Very classic, very understated, yet with a little sparkle. Really great earrings. So I have already got one of a twist ready for this hoop, and for the hoop I did 17 of these twists. Again, this is totally customizable. Put more or less in there depending on how big your hoop wants to be. Your hoop wants to be. So I just thought this was a nice medium size. Actually, what is the width of that? Let's measure it really quick. It's about almost a 1-inch hoop. It's just under 7/8 inch hoop. I thought that's a very nice, it's not too small and not too big. So we're down, just imagine we've gone together and we've made all these twists together. Now we're going to be putting in this end, and it's very similar to what we did here. It's just not quite as much. Same deal. This top wire that's to the right here is going to become the stud, if you will, the wire that goes into your ear. And again, I'm trying to just eyeball this. Let me squeeze that together again just a little bit, holding it with my finger and trying to envision where the middle is. I think that works pretty well. Give a little squeeze together. We're going to do the exact same thing. This one has got to come over and meet these other two. I want to squeeze them together a little bit more. Remember, we want them nice and lined up and parallel before I bring this one over. And it's just as easy as holding that pretty tightly and then just pressing that over until you got them in line. Use your chain nose pliers just to squeeze it down. Oh, I'm messing up this wire. You can use nylon pliers to straighten out if you need to. This one is not pressed down enough. Get down. Get in line. I'm going to pick up some chain nose pliers here so I can hold this tightly and then start bringing these wires around to meet. This is going to become our back. So if you want to see what's going on around in the front, look underneath. That's going to become our front. And at any time you feel it needs a press down, press it down. Just keep squeezing the wires together, keep them nice and even. And instead of just going straight across, I kind of like to bring it back down at an angle. Kind of bring it down more like at 45 degree for this pair of earrings instead of just straight across. There we go, Carrie. Just use the pliers, Carrie. Stop trying to do everything with your hands. And then press that down. And that should be what's going on underneath. and that's on the top. I'm gonna have to make some adjustments here because it's a little squeeze. Yeah, squeeze that in, Carrie, squeeze it. So that this end wrap is nice and as uniform as you're gonna get it. You know, it's handmade, it's handmade. Remember, I'm always saying that. Don't worry if it's not absolutely perfect. This isn't machine made, this is handmade. And just trim. Save those pieces. You know what they become? I'll give you, I'll clue you in right now. They're gonna become the ear wires. You always need about 2 inches or so. I do anyway, that's the way I like to do it. 2 inches or so for ear wires. So you get a great, nice little leftovers to make the ear wires. I'm going to press this down, but I don't have to worry about getting it all nice and flush because I'm going to come back with that little filer and really blend it all together. But I'm just little gentle squeezes here. And then back with the filer to smooth it down. Nice and smooth. This is hanging over just a little bit. I want to straighten that out. All right, now we're going to form it, and to make that 7/8 width, I use the 9 on my ring mandrel. And I start with a little looped end. Loopy? I think I'm a little loopy. The looped end, just pressing that, holding that as we bring it around this size 9. Now once you get to the end here where it's a wrap, you don't need a wrap, you don't need a press anymore because that's going to go, if you can visualize, it's going to go straight into your ear like that. Actually, this is the easiest earring. I should have said this was the easiest one. It's pretty easy. You're basically done. Grab your nylon hammer and we are going to just hammer the heck out of it. We want it nice and strong so it holds this hoop shape. And if it's a little off, you just, ooh, that's nice and strong. I got it good. And you can, and this is definitely advisable, we want to strengthen this little bit of wire sticking out as well. Got the nylon side on my hammer. I just used the one I got here. How long is this post? I actually measured an actual earring post. It's just about 1 centimeter, as we're going to trim this one down to 1 centimeter. And I'm just using a silicone earring backing. I don't know if they make copper ones, but the silicone, I think that works actually better. And that is earring number 2. That's the easiest one, wasn't it? You don't have to deal with no bead. What was I thinking? Okay. Let's move on to this little joy. Look at it. Ooh, so beautiful. Basically the same. I've already got my little setup here. This one used 21 twists. And we're going to start this by taking chain nose pliers right on this initial loop. And we've got to imagine it needing to go straight up and down to hold our earring, like that one would do. It's got to go even more, I will say. And just be patient and go slow with that. Now you can use a ring mandrel, or if you've got this little handy tool, this is one thing that I used for this. I used several different things because, you know, sometimes wire doesn't always act the same when it just, it did for you what it was supposed to do, and then the next time you do it, it didn't do it. I don't know. Wire is cranky sometimes. So you can do this on a ring mandrel, or I'm going to use this wrap and tap. And I'm just going for this middle bail here, just something to get us started. I'm not really concerned about the size of the hoop right now. I worry about that later. I just want to get this, sorry about that, I just want to get this loop shape, this circle shape going. So I'm just bringing this around. Obviously it needs to come a little more, so I'll bring it up to the next one and bring it in some more. It really is kind of a finagly one, but I think it's worth it. I think it is worth the aggravation because it was so pretty. I could see that translating into something for Christmas, like a Christmas wreath. Maybe even pull that over. It's all a finessing thing here. And I also might take chain nose pliers and bend it over right here on the end. Gripping everything very nice and firmly, but I don't want to mess anything up, and just kind of say, get over there. I think I got them where I want them for now. I'm going to trim this one wire. It is going to be on the bottom center wire. Just trim that off. And the same thing, bring this one over to meet those other three. Pinch them together if you need, which you most likely will. For some reason, because it's coming from that other side, you kind of need to get it over there, them to match up. This, what we're looking at right now, is eventually going to be our back. So we're starting from the back and just bringing it around to the front. Press that down over there. Nice. Make another one of those little collars. And then just bring it around to the back. Press down. I'm going to go back to these. I'm so sorry. I am so out of it today. I don't know if I didn't sleep well or what, but I'm here. I feel like I'm not all there today for some reason, but I'm glad you're here. I'm not going to trim just yet, and I'm going to tell you why, show you why. Because I'm going to put it on the ring mandrel. And this is where I really wanted to get a good, kind of like what you do when you make rings. You get them nice and finished out and stretched out and everything nice and tight. And I just want to make sure that this is where I want it. Because when I made these, they are about a size 4 on my ring mandrel. So I just want to get them down to the 4, and then I can make any adjustments. And this is why I had chain nose pliers with just a little bit of grip on them, because I wanted to gently grip, gently grip and adjust any of the shape. I don't want it to slip off. That's what I was saying, just a variety of chain nose pliers. I don't use those ones with the teeth very often, but when I need them, I need them. All right, I'm going to go with that. It's not exactly where I want it, but I don't want to keep messing with it and then I wreck it. What has happened before? Like, Carrie, why didn't you just stop while you were ahead? Oh, I'm going to need to trim that more. What in the heck am I thinking? Oops. And just press down. Make sure it's still looking good on the front, obviously. Now, there was one time that I tried to hide the ends down in there. It was just too much a bother. You're not going to see it anyway. I'm not going to do all that. We're just going to nicely end these wires on the back side. It's pretty smooth right now, and then just sand it down and be done. You know what I'm saying? Good. Perfect. And I've got my bench block out again with my nylon hammer, and it's a little, see, I don't know if you can see how it's not quite sitting flat. It's pretty flat, but not flat enough. Plus, this is going to strengthen it. And I'm going to go all around this circle. You can turn it over to the back side. I'm just going to hang this top part off the edge of the block. Maybe give it just a little tap there on the where we're going to hook our ear wire. And there we have earring number 3. Now, we did earrings, so I've got to show you how to make an ear wire. Just pick up one of those scraps. That's what we had them for. I'm trimming on the end, and like I said, you were going to need bail pliers or round nose pliers if you were going to stick around to do the ear wires. And I'm taking my first bail, 2 millimeters, right on the end, and beginning a sweet little loop. Coming it back to meet the wire, just like that. Maybe take it off your pliers. Oh my. The world, I got a grip on that. Turn your loop away and put it back in your pliers so that we can use this 7 millimeter bail. That's what I like to use for the part that goes in your ear. And I'm pressing near that bail, right around till it touches that first little loop, and trim just a little bit. And put a little bend in there. And that's it. How fast was that? And that is all 3 lovely pairs of earrings. Wow, with this wonderful wire twist. It's so simple and so beautiful. So I hope you are able to incorporate it into these great earrings or whatever you're working on. If you end up using this wonderful twisted link, tag me in your post on Instagram and Facebook. I'd love to see what you're working on. Several of you have posted to my Facebook, and I just love seeing what you are up to and how you use the designs to get creative on your own. I think you're going to have a great time making these earrings. I really, really do. And when you make them, you're going to come away looking at that. I made that because it's just so, it has an intricate look that doesn't take a lot of fuss. And it really is so easy. I hope you thought it was easy. I hope you thought the instructions were clear enough. I hope the rest of your week is fantastic and that you join me for next Tutorial Tuesday where we make something beautiful. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying. I really am out of sorts today. I don't know what the deal is. I need more coffee, I think. Can I hold? No, don't do that. So, or whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. I am so out of it today. I don't know what the deal is. La, help me. Law, please, what is the matter with my mouth? I am really, I think I need more coffee.